Welcome to Scolio-Pilates. This is class 59. We have been doing Scolio-Pilates online now for over a year, and today is a Scolio celebration. You have had a whole month filled with Scolio celebrities, and these celebrities have been amazing contributors to the Instagram and Facebook pages, our social media pages. And if you haven't gotten the chance to see what they're doing online, now that you've met them, go ahead and take a look. You're going to be very impressed with their work. There's Bethany.Pilates, there's at the Scolio Therapist, and then there's Yo_Adrian. So Yo Adrian. So we had Bethany, Megan, and Adrian, and I saw the classes, I took the classes, and they really did a fantastic job. And I want to thank you for welcoming them. Whether it was obvious to you or not, they were really, really nervous about meeting you in person. For today's class, we are going to use a TheraBand. I have a ball in my hand. I'm not sure we're going to use it, but we are going to use a TheraBand. We are going to use a towel or your K-wedge, and I've just got my wedges hanging out here. If you don't have wedges, don't worry about it. We continue our Scolio celebration today with a really nice class to just kind of just ease into our spines, but also just to see how much we can do with scoliosis and how much movement we do have available to us. And then we'll end the class with a very special stretch. So here we go. Let's go ahead and take our hands. Oh, I've missed you all. Let's take our hands on our knees here, and the palms are going to face down. And we'll start with our very slow breathing here. And when you take your inhale, you're going to expand the ribs just gently. And as the ribs expand, you might feel those arms feel lighter, and they might even float off of the knees. And then you exhale. As you come back down, I want you to squeeze the butt muscles a little bit. So it feels like you're kind of lifting yourself up off of the mat. That's the magic carpet ride. And again, inhaling. The ribs expand and possibly float the arms away. And then you exhale, you squeeze the glutes to lift the spine for the magic carpet ride. Last time, inhaling. The ribs expand and you exhale. Squeeze the glutes and the head rises. Give that spine a little bit of seaweed, a little bit of a wiggle, whatever that means for you. Take your hands now, put them on top of your head if that feels good for you. If that does not work in your shoulders, your arms, then I'd like you to keep your hands right here. No stress in the joints, okay? We're going to keep the hands on the head to create a pseudo closed chain action here. So instead of kind of floating kind of willy-nilly with our heads up to the clouds, you're going to bring a cloud right down on top of the head. And now you're going to reach your head into that cloud. We're going to actually see if we can make it rain. Have you ever heard where they're like cloud seeding? So we're going to cloud seed. So we're going to inhale. And we're going to go up into the cloud with the top of our head. You're going to squeeze the butt just a little bit. That's your magic carpet. Press your knees gently down towards the floor. Now, my knees are not actually going to move when I do that, but it's just the intention. Good. Here we go again. I'd like you to take a small inhale and then head to the clouds. Squeeze the glutes and give that a break. Rest the arms, rest the shoulders, and a little seaweed. And we'll do that again with just a little bit more instruction. So hands on the head, deep da da. And here we go. Inhale, head to the sky. Exhale, squeeze the glutes. Now pull the entire abdominal wall from the top of the ribs or the base of the sternum to the bikini line. Bring that whole wall back to hug the spine. And again, inhale. Head into the clouds. Exhaling, squeeze the butt. Bring the entire abdominal wall, north to south, back to hug the spine. Again, inhale. Head into the clouds. Your hands are resting directly on top of the head, so you have somewhere to push the head, not behind the head. And then exhaling, the entire abdominal wall comes back. Last time, inhale. Seating the clouds, making it rain. Exhaling, stomach to the spine, squeeze the butt, knees go down. Good job, everyone. Hands on the knees and give that a wiggle. This exercise works really, really well. Also, if you're seated in a chair, instead of pushing the knees down into the floor, you would be focused on pushing the heels down into the floor. All right, so just a little bit more seaweed here. I want you to think of where you are. Now let's start by putting our thumbs in the ribs. And then find the spot where, or the side where the ribs are a little closer together. So for me, it's the left side. The ribs live right on top of each other. The right's a little further apart. See if you can inhale and open up those ribs and seaweed those ribs to that side. So if it's on the left, see if you can seaweed those ribs to the left. And you can focus on this whether you are fused or unfused. Inhale, open up those ribs. Seaweed to that side. It's going to be so tiny. So tiny, whether you're fused or not. We're not looking for this because that movement starts to happen above and below the ribs. We just want that lift. So again, inhale, open, open, open the ribs. Continue the inhale, seaweed this space. Really, really open here. Back to center. Exhaling. Inhale, open up those ribs. Seaweed, open. Exhale, back to center. Last time, inhale. Open up the ribs. Seaweed, open up that space, and then back to center. Give that a wiggle. Okay, make sure that if you're getting uncomfortable seated on the floor that you just move yourself to a chair here, because we're gonna go back to that in just a moment. But let's take our little nerve glides through the arms. So we're just gonna go forward. I want the heels of the hands towards me, and then the fingers now are facing me. And then heels of the hands, beep, 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 and then out. Good, just 3 more like that. Good job, everyone. Here, and there, and here, and there. And you just have 1 more to go. D, da, da, da. Does anybody else do that walking through the neighborhood? I do it all the time. I'm always doing my arm exercises when I'm walking the dog. When you have a dog that walks at the speed of snail, you have to find a way to entertain yourself. Okay, so now what we were just doing is we were opening the ribs on this side here. But it's kind of like we said at the beginning of, or before class officially started, so it's not part of the recording, but on one side, the ribs over here, these ribs are really close together, and these ribs are really spreading apart. So if I did it this way, it's actually these ribs that are spreading apart. This actually looks like my spine now. These ribs are pinching together. What we just did was we put our fingers in our ribs and we expanded this space here. And we're going to expand a little bit more, because not only do we need an expansion here, but we need an expansion posterior on our backs as well. And we're going to accomplish that like this. So hands on the ribs to start, fingers, thumbs in the rib cage. I want you to inhale, open up this space, continue the inhale, open up that rib and take the arm to the side, okay? Exhale, the arm comes across. As the arm comes across, these ribs push to the wall behind you. So the fingers go on that diagonal. This is like my 1 o'clock. And my ribs are going to push back to that diagonal, which is like my 7:35, right? So from here, you're going to inhale, open, open, open. Glide to the side with the ribs, the arm stretches. We take the arm across the body on the exhale to about your 1 o'clock. The ribs go back to about your 7 o'clock. Good. Give that a little break. Okay. So first we're going to go dee da da da, and then we're going to go da 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 dee to open up these ribs in the back. I'll do it twice more in this direction, and then I'll switch my corner a little bit so you can see. So inhale, open, open, open. Seaweed. Take the arm with the seaweed. Exhale, come across the body. The hand is at 1, the ribs are at 7. Open those ribs. Good job, Martha. That looks really good. Wiggle it out. Let's try that once more like that. Inhale, open, open, open. Gliding those ribs. Really reach these ribs to the sides of the room. Exhale, come across. Hand is at 1. Ribs are at 7. Of course, if you're using the opposite arm, you're at 11 and 5. And give it a little wiggle. Let me change my angle just a little bit so you can see, and we'll do it twice more. So inhale, I expand the rib. I continue to expand the rib and I reach my arm. I exhale across my body. As I go across the body, these ribs move back. Good work. Wiggle it out. And again, inhale, spread the ribs, reach the arm, seaweed the ribs to continue opening those closed ribs. Exhale, across the body, the hand reaches to 1, the ribs reach to 7. Good, that was awesome, everybody. Give that a little wiggle here. All right, let's work the shoulders a little bit differently now. I'm gonna turn my mat to a little diagonal, and we're gonna lie down on our backs and grab your band for me. So down we go. Ah, that feels good. You know, kind of when you've been like running all day long, it's like you lie down and you don't realize that you've been running all day long until things start to stop here. When you're down on your back, just give your knees a little wiggle. Let the knees drop to center. Let the hips move with your legs. So we're not trying to create a shape. We're just trying to wiggle things out a little bit. Okay. Take your time getting to your mat. This exercise is just kind of a little interim to give everybody time. Let yourself get situated. It's not a crucial exercise at all. If you get to do a couple, that's plenty. Alrighty, from here, let's settle the feet. My toes are actually on the carpet and my heels are on the mat. And I'm gonna reach my arms up to the sky, and I'm going to put imaginary shoes on my shoulder blades, and I'm gonna walk my shoulder blades away from my hips here, so I can feel length happening in my spine. Once I've walked my shoulder blades as far away from my hips as they're gonna go, I stick my shoulder blades to the mat, just because my skin is sticky on the mat. I reach my hands for the sky, and then I very slowly work against gravity to bring the shoulders down. So we're not squeezing the muscles behind the shoulder blades. Gravity will bring those shoulders down just fine. Let it do that, but don't let it do it all at once. Touch the sky and slowly work with gravity to bring those shoulders down. Just twice more, touching the sky and coming right back down. Last time, touching the sky and coming right back down. Good job, everyone. Give that a little wiggle. Okay, for this next exercise, you are going to need your band. And I think what we should do, and you might have to come up to seated to do this, is I want you to put a little knot in it. So I'm going to knot mine about So that's the length of my band. I'm going to put my knot about, I guess it's about at the halfway point. Don't tie it too tight because, you know, we'll be untying it later anyway. And then what you're going to need to know before you lie back down is what side of your back is the upper back sand dune. So my upper back sand dune is on my right side, which means I'm going to put this loop I just made underneath my left knee. So it's going to go right here, okay? Not underneath the shin, but just above my knee towards my hips. So my upper back sand dune is on my right, which means I'm going to put this on my left leg, and then down I go. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to hold on to this knot that I created. And we're going to work on a little bit of abdominal work here. Start with both legs in this hook line position. So your legs, your knees, feet look like a hook. And then we're going to bring up that leg that has the band on it. From here, I want you to try to level the hips. If you need to, look up and see if they're level. My right hip, the one that doesn't have the band, loves to play up there on the sky. So I have to consciously bring that down. So take a look at those hips, bring the hips to level, see if you can keep them there as the head goes down. Now, if you look at the hips and it doesn't really look like one's any different than the other, then they probably aren't and you don't have anything to worry about. Okay, for me, it's extremely obvious. If it's not obvious for you, then you really don't need to worry about it. I want you to bend the arm that has the band just a little bit. So you're going to bring it back towards the floor, maybe a centimeter, possibly 2 centimeters. We're just trying to get those muscles active. And as I get those muscles active, as that elbow pulls, those ribs on that side actually automatically pull away from the mat a little bit. And that's good. That's our sand dune side. And we're trying to get that sand dune slightly away from the mat. So try 3 more of those. Bend the elbow and the ribs go to the sky. And then release it. Bend the elbow, take the ribs off of the mat ever so slightly, take them towards the sky. It may feel much more like a pressure change and not so much like a big momentous, calisthenic exercise. And one more time, bend the elbow and the ribs come away. Good. Take that leg down and just give everybody a little bit of a wiggle. The arms can cross and hug the shoulders, and the knees can kind of flop in and out. And the arms can cross and hug the shoulders, and the knees are in and out. Okay. Adding on to that, bring the legs to hook position. Fingers are on your hip bones. Take a look at those hip bones and see if they're level. My right hip has to go back as usual. I'm going to bring my left leg up. Fingers are on the hip bones. I look at the hip bones again to make sure my hips are still level. Because as soon as I bring that leg up, that right hip is going to go flying away somewhere. From here, we're going to add on. I want you to pull back 0.5 centimeter. So it's just really just the intention of moving this elbow back as these ribs float just ever so slightly away from the mat. We're going to hold that position, and we're going to take that toe with the band on it down to touch the floor, and we're going to bring it right back up. And then we're going to keep that elbow pulling back. We're going to keep those ribs thinking about coming away from the mat, and we're going to go down and touch the floor, and we're going to come right back up. Again, let's add the breath to this. Inhale, don't move. Exhale, pull the arm, drop the toe, keep the hips level, and inhale, back up. Good job, everyone. Exhale, elbow back, stomach tight, drop the toe, Inhale, expand the ribs, the same ribs you were expanding earlier when we had your thumbs in the rib cage. Inhaling. Exhaling, elbow back, ribs off the mat, toe touches the mat. Inhaling, back, up. Again, last time, inhale. Exhale, elbow back, ribs ever so slightly float away from the mat. You take the toe down, you take the toe up, and you're in good shape here. Hug the shoulders with both hands, rock the shoulders just a little bit, and then rock the knees just a little bit. Give everybody a little bit of a break there. Good, good, good. And then from here, unwrap the arms and wrap the arms again. And notice which arm is on top, whether it's the left or the right. And I want you to wrap, unwrap, and then wrap, put the other arm on top. And then just give your shoulders a little rock here again. Okay, come on up to sitting. We're going to come back to another variation on that in just a moment. But in the meantime, I want to focus on just a little bit of arm movement that we're going to be using later in class. So we can think of these as little nerve glides or just little mobilizations, and you can sit cross-legged. I'm going to sit on my feet for a minute just to stretch out the top of my feet, but you don't have to. From here, my palms are facing down, and all I want to do is turn my palms to the ceiling, and I'm going to turn my palms to the floor. And I know we have somebody in class who is studying movement, and so this is supination, and hold a bowl of soup. That's pronation. And so we're just going to glide that back and forth and take 3 more. 3 and 2 and 1. From here, without overdoing it, okay? Because a lot of us with scoliosis have better than average flexibility. Just drop your fingers down. I don't want you to try to push those fingers back. Just drop them down and then lift them up. And if you don't feel a stretch and you feel nothing here, don't keep pushing until you do. It's fine. Just lift and drop and lift and drop. Just 2 more. We're going to use these motions or kind of a conglomeration of them later in class. Flip your hands, drop the fingers, and flip them up. Drop and flip up. Dee-da-da, da-da-dee. Dee-da-da, da-da-dee. Just 2 more. Here and there and here and there. Now, let's try something. I think we talked about this a month or so ago in class. Arm circles are something that I really like, but they're not necessarily that easy for scoliosis. So let's do an arm circle and let's talk about this. So first, I want you to work with the arm that is on the side of your upper back sand dune. My upper back sand dune is on my right. So I'm going to start with my right arm. If it's on the left for you, please use the left. We are going to take this arm up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to stop right about here, because unless I change my back, the position on my back, if I take my arm any higher, I'm going to pinch right in the top of my shoulder. So if you've ever reached for something in a high kitchen cupboard, if you've played volleyball, if you've done certain things and you get that high pinch in the shoulder, then it might be not your shoulder, but maybe you need to move your back out of the way. So this is how we're going to do that. So go up without any changes in your back and feel where that arm naturally stops. That's your stop point. From here, I am going to imagine I have a sunshine sticker on the front of my chest right here where my bra strap meets the rest of the bra. I'm going to lift that up to the sky. And my arm is naturally going to lift with it. The sand dune naturally goes forward, and then I circle the arm around in a very pain-free range of motion. If I try to make like this perfect 180 circle, I'm going to pinch somewhere, and I don't want you to. So you've got your sunshine sticker, put your hand where your sunshine sticker is. Take your other hand, elongate your spine. See how far that arm wants to go up before it stops. Then lift your sunshine sticker, take your ribs forward, and now let the arm go around, okay? Sunshine sticker forward. Oh, sorry, that's my sunshine sticker. Head on the sky, the arm floats up. This is just for awareness. Where does that arm stop? And then if I lift that sunshine sticker forward, if I push my ribs up and out of the way, then where can I circle the arm? Okay, this is really good, like personal spine information. So sunshine sticker, elongate, float the arm, lift the sunshine sticker, which takes those ribs forward, that sand dune forward, circle the arm. You have one more to go. Sunshine sticker here, float the arm, lift the sunshine sticker, and the arm can go up and around, and then just give that a little shake, okay? It's gonna be a little different on the other side. So on the other side, instead of starting by going forward, we're actually gonna start by going back. What we have to be careful of on this is that this side loves to go forward. It will live here all day, every day. So when we go back, we actually want to focus on the elongation. Focus on the elongation. And then when we go back, be sure not to dump into those ribs. Okay, so don't let that happen. So if you're seated, hands on the knees wide, hands on the knees if you're here where I am, lifting up. Now, don't let these ribs go forward as you take the arm back. Now, as you go forward, imagine you're pushing against a wall here. You could even put your other hand, like palm to palm, and push against that. In fact, we'll do that as you come down to open up these ribs over here, okay? So you're gonna go back and elongate. Don't dump into that rib. And as you come up and over, let's put the palms to the palms. Push that rib open to stretch those ribs apart. The arm comes down. Inhale, get really tall. Exhale. Those ribs go back behind you as you push your hand forward. And again, inhale. Get really tall. Don't cave into the tide pool. Exhale. Open the tide pool even more. And twice more. Inhale. Really, really tall. Pushing in. Last time. Deep, 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 deep. And da, 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 da. Okay, good job, everyone. Give it a little wiggle. Okay, from here, I would like you to, if you have a small ball, if you have a wedge, if you have something nearby, go ahead and grab it. If you don't have any of that, please don't worry about it. This is totally doable without it. I am going to switch my mat to the opposite diagonal. Okay. So from here, what we were doing on our backs a moment ago is we had the band around the leg and we were pulling it with the opposite hand. This time I want the other leg up. So this is my right leg that is up. And my left side, my left upper back, is the side of my tide pool. So this is the side that's hollow. This is the side of the rib cage that really just doesn't have any interest in touching the mat whatsoever. And we're going to see if we can give it a little bit of interest. So I know with the video, it's a little hard to tell what's right and left because everything blends together. But this is my right leg that is up. This is my left rib that's facing you. I'm going to put my ball on my right knee and my left hand on that ball and my right arm to the sky. Now, from this position, my right arm is just going to sink with gravity towards the floor. It's going to find a little home there. I'm not squeezing my shoulder blades. I'm just reaching to the sky. My shoulder is off the floor
And then I just allow gravity to bring my shoulder down. Okay, from here, I am going to push into the ball, and I'm going to push my knee into the ball to help me open these ribs onto the floor. If you don't have a ball, then you just put your hand on your knee, okay? So from here, hand to the sky on the side of the upper back sand dune. Let that shoulder drop. You're going to inhale, open up the left or the tide pool ribs and push into the ball to help that happen. Exhaling, kind of give it a little break. Inhale, push your hand into the ball, push the knee into the ball, continue the inhale, open up those ribs, exhale, give it a little wiggle. Inhale, hand and knee to ball, open the ribs into the mat. Good job. Exhale, give it a break. The ball goes down and just give your knees a little bit of a wiggle there. Okay, everyone, let's try that again. So let's bring the leg up. Be sure that the leg that's up is opposite of the ribs that are your tide pool. Hand on the knee or hand on the ball. Opposite hand to the sky, and just let that shoulder sink to the floor until it finds a good, comfortable home. Inhale, hand and knee to ball. Open those ribs into the mat. Good work. And again, inhale. Exhale, hand and knee to ball. Keep those ribs opening. Inhale. And exhale. Keep the push going on the exhale. We start the push on the inhale. We'll continue it this time on the exhale. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last time, inhale, hand and knee to ball. Open up those ribs on the tide pool side. Exhale, continue the push onto the ball. Continue the ribs opening. Good. Let's get rid of the ball, hand off the knee, and let's just give this a little wiggle back and forth here. Okay, everyone, we are doing good here. And then from here, let's go ahead and rock ourselves up to sitting for just a little moment here. You might find that this one is a little more comfortable seated on a chair. It's entirely up to you. But we're going to take some of the forward back seaweed action that we've taken in the past. So again, today we really want to focus on all the things that our spine can do. And so we want to get through a bit of a range of motion. If you're seated on the floor, you might want to use your towel, which I'm going to use, underneath your bum, because it really frees up a little bit of movement here so that you're not fighting hamstrings. And so we have this little bit of movement available to us. Once you're on your towel or just seated on the floor with your knees bent, slightly bent, do bend your knees whether you're on the floor or on the towel, because again, it's going to free up this joint here to give us a tiny bit more movement. Now, we do want to focus on our seaweed here, and it's going to be very much like a roll through an undulation. Hands are going to go behind the knees. And I want you to sit up really tall. For one moment, just put your hands on top of your head, and your head pushes to the sky through the hands. So you have that kind of earth connection through the hips and the sky connection through the hands. Both spots are anchored. Once you have that 2-point anchor, place the hands behind the knees again. From here, I want you to sit behind your sit bones. So we kind of rock behind the sit bones here. You're going to drop your head down so that your nose is just over the bottom of your hips here. And then we're going to drop our head over our knees. We're going to look forward and we're going to come up. So it's a little bit of a roll. Those of you who are fused doing this, I want you to really focus your movement on the areas that aren't fused, but not in an aggressive way. Okay, it's very, very, very gentle. And so we're tall, earth to air grounding. And from here, we sit behind our sit bones. We carve out the tummy. We drop our head over the hips. We drop our head over the knees. We look up and we come forward. It's a little bit like a snake action. So again, earth to air grounding. Up, up, up. A little bit of downward pressure on the hands so that your head and your spine have a place to reach for. Hands behind the legs, sit behind the sit bones, carving out the tummy, drop your head over the hips, over the knees, reach the chest forward, and up you go. Nice work. Earth to air grounding. Inhaling. Exhaling, back you go. Inhaling, head over hips, head over knees. Exhaling, up we go. Again, inhaling. Nice and tall here. Exhaling. Inhaling. Again, let's take an exhale here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhaling. And inhaling. Exhale to pause. Good work. Inhaling. Exhaling. And last inhale. Good job, everyone. Give that a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, coming off of there, let's come to all fours, and you can have your hands, your fingers are in the shape of a tent, or you're on your fist here. So whatever feels comfortable to you. I like the tent position most of all, usually. Unless my hands have had quite enough for one day, then I go to the fist. I'm gonna ask you to probably stay away from just that position for now. So fingers or fists. From here, our child's pose, our pseudo child's pose, by first taking the hands not underneath the shoulders, but a little further away. From here, I want you to tuck the toes under, pull the stomach away from the thighs as you lengthen your spine back towards your hips. And coming forward. From here, when you're ready, take an inhale and expand the ribs, especially on the side of the tide pool, as you take the hips back and coming forward. And again, inhaling, expanding the ribs and coming back, and exhaling, coming forward. One more time like that. Inhale, expand the ribs that like to live close together as you reach your hips away. Exhaling, coming forward. Stay right where you are. I'm just going to switch my mat to give you a different view here, because what we're going to do now is that we are going to inhale on our way back, opening up the ribs that like to live close together. We're going to continue that inhale, and we're going to wag our feet to the same side as those ribs that like to live close together. We'll exhale, come back, and then come forward. So it's a long inhale, right? So the long inhale opens these ribs. We continue the inhale to keep the ribs open and wag our tail, our feet towards that same side. Exhale and exhale. Okay, so here we go. Very slow inhale. So inhale, the ribs open. Continue the inhale,
wag the feet, keep these ribs open. Exhale back to center. Whew. And coming forward. Inhaling, open the ribs. Keep them open. Wag the tail. Exhale, back to center. Last time. Inhale, open the ribs. Continue opening. Exhale, back to center. And then from here, just give the legs a little bit of a shake. Sitting back, give the hands a little bit of a shake. Okay, I wanted to put some of this together for you for something here at the end of class. So we're going to come to standing, and I'm going to move my camera here up to here. And let me just get this ready for later. Okay, so let's see, that camera angle is not going to work, but I think that one will. If you do not feel comfortable in standing, like it's just like not happening for you today, please do this seated in a chair. None of this should feel like torture to you. All right, so I'm going to change this angle just a smidge so you can see what's happening. And we're going to put together some of the things that we've been working on, okay? So the first thing we're going to work on is something we haven't worked on yet today, and that is a step balance. To step balance, we're going to step to the right, and then to balance, you have options. I would recommend sliding this foot closer so that this foot, you're actually on the ball of the foot as you slide in, okay? And then we step over to the other side, and you slide balance. This foot is still on the floor. And then step, slide, balance. Now, if you're feeling really confident, your slide can end up with your toe at your ankle bone, okay? Step, slide the foot, ankle bone or foot on the floor. Step, slide, and if you're seated in a chair doing this, your feet are wide, and you're just sliding your foot over to one side to meet the other, and then you're still seated in the chair, you put your foot down, you slide, and the foot touches. These are both fine, okay? So don't feel like you need to be standing, or maybe you're holding on to the back of a chair if that helps. Here and there. Let's just do one more on each side. D, da, da, and D, da, da. Okay, feet down. Put them in a comfortable position where you feel like your balance is really strong. And in this position, I'd like you to take an arm circle so it goes up and around. But that up and around, remember, we have to bring the sunshine with us so that the shoulder doesn't get pinched in there. So up and around, good, other side. And on the other side, remember, we go back first. So back and then down. Let's reverse that other side. Sunshine up. Good work. This is a little bit of a brain teaser because this one has to go the other direction. So up and around. Sunshine and the arm circles. The back doesn't go into extension. Instead, it goes into a mini upper back flexion right here. And sunshine, I'm just switching sides so you can see, you don't have to move. And then here, and reaching. Two more on each side. Sunshine lifts so the shoulder has a range of motion. And here we have to watch that we don't go into extension. And sunshine on the side of the sand dune. And cautious of the extension on the side of the tide pool. Good, give that a little wiggle. Okay, then from here, let's take the nerve glides that we did earlier. So here, and we're gonna open. Now let's just do one arm at a time. It's gonna go across the body, and it's gonna open. And it's gonna go across the body, and it's gonna open. And it's gonna go across the body, and it's gonna open. And it's gonna go across the body, and it's gonna open. And two more on each side. D, da da da, D, da da da. Last time, D, da da da, and D, da da da. Okay, hold that, and we're going to put some of these things together. Give me one moment here. We're actually going to add a little bit of sound to this.